What is happening, mediocre people of YouTube? So I just released part one of this video, redoing this Zenith what is it, 12H670 radio. So I just wanted to, I don't think I'm gonna make this part of the video series, but just kind of got started on the soldering here yesterday, and went ahead. Let's see if we can turn on the light there. And we're still recording. Yes, we are. Yesterday, got some of these capacitors, new capacitors in, and then I had to tackle a what do they call it? Multi-can capacitor, multi can capacitor. So instead of ordering a can capacitor, which is kind of just stupid, because even if I could order the one I wanted, it would I mean, you're looking at $50, $40-50 for one of those, which is really stupid. And I would have to order a custom if I wanted to order one, so that would be even more. So what I ended up doing, and I can direct you guys to a place where you can order custom can capacitors in case you ever need them. But so what I ended up doing is wiring my own little block here of 3 different electrolytic capacitors, and I don't know. I don't feel all that great about it. It's first. I'm a newbie. It's the first time. It kind of feels like I wired up a bomb, you know. But they are all wired right. I don't know. I'm just not real happy with the way it looks. I think it looks kind of sloppy. But I am going to tack it down here so that it's not just kind of floating out here in space. I got one more to do. That one is just, it's a can capacitor, but it's not a multi capacitor. It's just a single 30 microfarad capacitor that goes right in here, so that one's not as big of a deal. It's just one capacitor. You know, some of the stuff I've been running into with this thing is this wiring here, this wire here, a lot of this wire that you see, it's rubber coated, and I don't even really want to hit it that hard, because this stuff just kind of, if you mess with it too much, it just kind of shatters. Now here's some cloth covered, that's fine, and it's doing fine, but then you've got all this rubber coated. These are all rubber coated, and a lot of this stuff is right, you know, right near close to the chassis. And like you can see right here, this wire here, you can see where I made a little repair right there. What I did, I went and got some of this liquid tape, and I'm kind of hoping that I can do that as I go through pieces, because I'm bound to crack some more of it. I ended up replacing one wire here. It was just too far gone. It was shattered, and there was no way. I had to run. It's this wire here that runs through underneath all these capacitors and resistors here, and I just couldn't trust it. So I have some cloth wire here that I replaced it with, which is fine. Something else to think about if you're doing these radios. If you look at how these stock capacitors are put in here, look at how far of a stretch some of these leads are. I mean, this one stretches all the way across here. This one stretches all, and then it's the same capacitor now, and it stretches all the way across over to here. So you know, and then you got another one here, stretches way across, and then again stretches way across and over to this tube here. And there's several of these in here. You can see there's another one there and another one there. You know, a lot of long stretches on the leads here. So I'm gonna just J-hook these more than likely, because the new capacitors, they're not gonna have the length to cover that anyway, I don't think. Here's a, what is that? I think that's a .01. So it's not gonna catch that length anyway. It might, but anyway, a better idea is to just J-hook it. I think clip these off a little bit and J-hook it, and then certainly put some heat shrink on it, some type of insulator on it, because you know that stuff, it's just kind of hanging out there in the breeze. I mean, I'm not really as much nostalgia as people have for these radios and stuff, and Zenith being the big name. I'm not really impressed with, you know, how they were put together. I mean, their work is just as sloppy as mine. You know, really, when you look at it. I mean, I'm really trying to take pride. I take pride in my work, and I try to keep things neat. So far, maybe I'm just rusty. I'm not real thrilled about. I mean, it looks okay. The capacitors I put in here, this one, like I said, not real thrilled with how it looks, but maybe, who knows, maybe I'll go through it again. But the other radio looked very neat, and the rest of the work that I do electronic wise, I always try to keep it very neat, tidy, organized, so that, you know, if somebody else comes in there, they you know, can look at something and see where it goes and whatnot. Oh, so this potentiometer was completely 1000% seized up and not turning at all. This is the on-off and volume. As you can see, it's now working incredibly well. I had contacted my radio guy and said, hey man, can you get me, because he actually builds any, even if you can't get a control, he builds them custom. So I said, hey man, can you get me one of these? I said, I sure can. He goes, but why don't you just fix it? He told me that what you can do is put the tip of your soldering iron right here on this bushing and just let it sit there. And I busted out my Big Bertha for this one and set it on there and just let it sit there, and it burns out all the old grease, and you'll see it smoking. And as it's burning it out, then you can start turning it, and then maybe run some contact cleaner along with some type of lubricant into it. So there's a little tip from a newbie. He said 90% of the time it works, and it did. It worked great for me, so pretty happy about that. Have some of this line here for the tuner coming, so that I can redo that, because this thing is doing nothing, as you can see, and it just needs the new line on it. I could probably fix what's there, but I'm not that concerned about it. So, been one of those days where I got up early and I had a bunch of shit to do. I came home and took a short nap, which ended up turning out to be one of those 3-hour naps. So now I'm down here at midnight tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do any soldering tonight or not. I wasn't really thinking about it. I was actually just didn't feel like doing any soldering, so I was gonna. I came in and cleaned up this cabinet a little bit, and wiped it down with Howard's Feed and Wax. I need to buff it out now, so I still got to do that before I do any soldering, if I do decide to do it. So these cabinets, you know, first off, these radios are not really worth anything. I mean, they're not monetarily, they're not worth a whole bunch of money or anything like that. If you refinish these cabinets, they're even worth less, and really there's no way to really pretty this up. It's not any type of high-end woods or anything. Like, you got a little bit of nice piece there, but it's not any type of high-end wood. I've got this old cabinet that you guys have seen. As you know, it's going to be a Fender Champ circuit that goes in there. The camera is making this look a lot more red than it actually is. It's got some red to it, but it's certainly more brown than it is red. So that was refinished, and I picked that up for $20. The cabinet and the chassis. So that tells you how much these are worth. Now, some of these older radios, they are worth quite a bit of money. So, you know, if you get into this as a newbie, you know, as far as monetary value, you know, there you go. Make sure, you know, you're not refinishing cabinets, because you're just devaluing them by refinishing them. Again, this one, I don't know. Maybe at some point, it's really not even worth it. If I were in this for monetary purposes, it's not even worth it to refinish it, because it's not like it's going to add any value to it by refinishing it. It'll definitely look prettier. Um, I can't wait to listen to this thing. I like plugging my tablet in and listening to my podcast through a tube radio. Actually, this would be a hell of a lot. This thing would be worth a hell of a lot more if I just converted the whole thing into a guitar amplifier. It's a 6v6 push-pull amplifier. If I were to reconfigure the circuit and possibly maybe 2 or 3 12AX7s in the preamp and reworked it, it'd probably be worth, I don't know, 1,000 anyway, maybe 1,500 as a guitar amplifier. When I finish this this recap and get it all working again and set up, the whole thing will probably be worth maybe $100. Maybe, if you find somebody who really loves this radio and has a past and a history with it, maybe $200, $250 at the very maximum. But you can pick these up pretty much all day long, needing to be restored. A lot of them are missing knobs and stuff like that. Glass is cracked. My glass is in excellent condition. Overall, this radio is in very good condition. So this would have been like maybe $100 before the recap. Something like that. Nothing real expensive, not what you think. Now, there are radios out there that are they are worth a lot more money. They are in the there's certainly radios out there that are let me turn you guys around, let's turn this fucking light off first. There are certainly radios out there that are worth worth some money, the older radios, but you got to find them. The guy I told you about that I've been kind of advertising, Mark Oppett at Antique Audio in Plymouth, Michigan. I'm just trying to help him because as a newbie, he's helped me. He's really treated me well, so I just kind of keep mentioning his name here a couple more times in the upcoming videos, because I think he deserves the business. He carries anything Antique Electronic Supply carries. He carries it for the most part. Again, he's not a guitar amplifier guy, so he's a radio guy. But as far as all the parts go and tube amplifiers and whatnot, that's pretty much all the same stuff. I don't know what I was talking about before I got on that rant, but yeah, I'm looking forward to having this done. So like I said, I'll put a 1/4-inch jack on it so that if I want to plug my guitar into it, I can. It's got a nice 12-inch speaker in it, and it's pretty powerful amplifier. It's the power transformer. It's being powered by power section by 2 6v6 tubes into a 12-inch speaker, so that should get pretty friggin' loud for what it is. Other than that, just kind of looking here what I did with my tubes, because I do need to take them over to him and have them tested. I almost bought a tube tester the other day. I actually have one I could get. I'd like to have my own tube tester. The only thing is, it's hard for me to justify spending the money on something like that when, it's not something I'm going to be using very often. I don't know how many of these radios I'm going to do. It's not like I intend to keep getting radios and doing them over and over and over, but certainly if they present themselves, I'll do one. This one presented itself through a client over the summer, and it was given to me. So this will be my second one. I'll certainly be servicing my own guitar amplifiers. At some point, maybe other people's amplifiers. I think I'm competent enough now to where I could do that successfully, and I think a big part of that goes with staying humble about it, and if I were to run into something that I'm just not comfortable with, just, you know, putting it out there and saying, hey, I'm just not comfortable with it, you know, and leaving it at that. The only thing with that, you know, you run into people who kind of, they might get pissed off, like, well, why the fuck did I bother bringing it to you anyway? So I don't really want to run into that situation either. And the other thing is I'm not, there's no part of me that, you know, I'm not really interested in making money on servicing amplifiers or radios or guitars. I mean, even the guitars I service, which I am very competent in, I really don't, I haven't really charged anyone, even, you know, other than the strings and, you know, whatever the parts were. But it's not, just not something I'm interested in making money on. I have other means of income, so this is more of a hobby type of thing. But I mean, certainly if it were to take off to the extent where I stayed busy with it, then that would be a different story. So we'll see where it goes. Anyway, I'm not sure what I want to do. One part of me, I think I'm thinking about playing some guitar, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll put on a live stream. Maybe I will put on a live stream. Elmo should be getting off work here pretty quick. We'll see what happens. It's about midnight on a Wednesday night. Let me upload this video, see where Elmo's at. Maybe we'll do some bullshit and some guitar playing. Peace.